Today we return to the free Medbed preparation series. Several of these techniques will be addressed and practiced at X-Pharmacon in Panama City Beach, so please be sure to check out xpharmacon.com and reserve your spot. Okay, so we've been covering the need for brain coherence to maximize off-world medbed healing, and that the beds basically enhance what we already have. So the more coherent we are already, the more complete our healing will be. Basically, we will be helping, not impeding our healing. I think I will give you an outline of the many ways to prepare for the medbeds that the world is waiting for, because there are so many options that we can pick and choose from. And you'll learn also that we should layer these various practices for maximum effect. I'll be covering most of these methods in greater depth as to how they help in healing, but if you want, you can choose to do a little research on your own until I can cover all the practices. Remember guys, the sooner you start, the better, so grab a pencil and paper, 'cause you might want to jot some of these down. Awaken your children to these practices, especially if they're in need of healing. Many of us have been practicing for decades, but it is so easy, and you have the benefit of those that have gone before you to give you the cliff notes, so to speak. Also, the study of the brain has exploded, and we're learning so much more about the mind-body connection. So I'm confident that even those who have never meditated a day in their life can easily become aligned for healing very quickly. All right, so the first thing, which might be a bit surprising, is something that some of you may be thrilled to hear. Let me just preface this by saying that I did quite a bit of meditation when I was young, but then I stopped sitting in traditional meditation some years ago. And despite that, my awareness and my connection to the unseen energy of the universe has increased significantly. I couldn't figure this out at first, but I now know the answer. Many of you will be happy to know that meditation is considered Tier 4, or maintenance, as opposed to several other more powerful and direct methods that you can do to achieve faster and more powerful results. So there's many techniques that you can incorporate into your daily life which will begin to train your body to receive the amplification of medbeds. I'm going to break these down into 4 tiers based on efficacy and how quickly they work. There are times when you want a faster response, and time when you want to entrain your brain slower so that it sustains longer. Tier 1 is the fastest and most direct way to achieve synchronization. It includes EEG coherence, neurofeedback, audio-visual stimulation, isochronic tones, and coherent breathing. We'll be going into these in more depth in future editions of this series. Tier 2 techniques are consistently highly effective, and they include binaural beats, monaural beats, alternate nostril breathing, EMDR-style bilateral stimulation, which is eye movement desensitization and reprocessing, is a technique that helps individuals process and heal from traumatic memories through guided eye movements or other forms of bilateral stimulation. If you are trying to effect a quick change or healing, these are the most effective methods to use. For slower but deep and lasting balance, there's Tier 3, which includes Tai Chi, Qigong, bilateral movement exercises, and chanting. And lastly is Tier 4 practices, which are more supportive and stabilizing. These include focused attention meditation, loving-kindness meditation, and symmetric music. So those are the basic categories, and as I said, there's lots of different things you can do within each tier. The various techniques to achieve coherence can be broken down into categories, starting with audio-based entrainment techniques. These include binaural beats, which are 2 slightly different frequencies delivered separately to each ear to induce a third beat frequency in the brain. There are also monaural beats, which are 2 frequencies that are combined before reaching the ears. For some, monaural beats are stronger entrainment than binaural beats. Next, there's isochronic tones. These are single tones pulsed on and off at specific frequencies. This technique is very effective for synchronization. Next is split hemisphere audio, which are different frequencies delivered to each ear to intentionally balance or synchronize hemispheric activity. Another method is harmonic layering, which is multiple tones that are harmonically related to reinforce coherent brainwave patterns. Then there's pink noise entrainment, which is broadband sound modulated at target frequencies. The pink noise is very effective for calming and coherence. Almost everyone has heard of white noise modulation, which is commonly used for sleep. White noise is similar to pink noise but with higher frequency emphasis. They will be addressed in more depth in an upcoming video. The next audio-based technique is nature sound modulation. There's a reason why natural sounds like rain, the ocean and wind entrain brainwaves by their rhythmic modulation. But there's still more sounds that can balance your brainwaves. There's chanting and overtone singing, which are vocal harmonics that naturally induce bilateral brain activation. Don't worry, we're going to help you choose what's best for you, but until we look at each in depth, there will be a link to some of these sounds in the description for you to try. The last type of audio entrainment is mantra repetition with rhythm, which is a repetitive vocalization at a steady tempo, promotes hemispheric balance. You don't even have to voice the mantras, you can listen to them. There's really no excuse, guys. Okay, next we're going to look at the various practices that are movement-based entrainment techniques, which is bilateral physical movement. I'm sure you've heard of some of them. Let's do the obvious ones first. Tai Chi is a slow, symmetrical movement patterns which induce coherence. Many call it moving meditation. Qigong is a little easier from a physical standpoint. It involves coordinated breath, movement, and intention. I used to teach Qigong and have incorporated it into the X-Pharmacon program in April, so people with all types of limitations can learn it. One of the most well-known movement practices is yoga, especially the postures that use both sides because alternating and symmetrical poses enhance hemispheric communication. Dance with repetitive movements provides the rhythm and symmetry that synchronizes neural firing, so even an aerobics class is beneficial, and your evening walk provides a bilateral steady cadence that entrains motor and cognitive hemispheres. Lastly, for bilateral motor entrainment and auditory feedback, drumming with both hands is a healing practice. And that's exactly why we're going to have a drumming event at X-Pharmacon also. For those who have studied various types of meditation, you know the importance of breathing. Well, it turns out, the coherent breathing strongly synchronizes hemispheres by toning the vagus nerve, which is a fundamental part of the unconscious parasympathetic branch of the nervous system. Coherent breathing is simply taking slow, deep breaths at a rate of about 5 to 6 breaths per minute, with equal time for inhalation and exhalation. Easy, isn't it? Another type of breathing that directly balances hemispheric balance is alternate nostril breathing, which is known as Nadi Shodhana. Next is box breathing, which is equal timing phases that promote neural symmetry. The last breath technique is resonant frequency breathing, which involves breathing at a specific rate to achieve optimal functioning of the body. This method can enhance the synchronization of the respiratory, nervous, and cardiovascular systems, leading to measurable healing benefits. The next group we're going to talk about is cognitive or attention techniques. That's guided hemispheric visualization. I've got a small library of such guided meditations for various ailments, and I'll put a link to the playlist in the description for you. I highly recommend using them if you have one of the medical conditions featured. Imagery alternates or merges hemispheric awareness. Next is focused attention meditation, which stabilizes interhemispheric communication. Then there's open monitoring meditation, which promotes neural coherence throughout the body. And guess what? Loving kindness meditation has been shown to increase whole brain synchronization. Lastly, in the meditative category is dual attention tasks, which use both logical and creative engagement at the same time. Simply, that's thinking with both your right and left brain at the same time. We're getting there, guys. I told you that we had many options and we're not done yet. There's a category of tactile or somatic techniques. The first being bilateral tactile stimulation, which is alternating taps or vibrations on left and right sides. Are you catching on, guys? It's all about stimulating both sides of the brain. You may have heard of this one, EMDR-style bilateral stimulation. EMDR means eye movement desensitization and reprocessing. It involves eye movements, taps, or tones on alternating sides. There's also alternating temperature stimulation, which hot and cold exposure on opposite sides. Lastly, in touch is to use weighted blankets or pressure to enhance somatosensory coherence. There's TDCS, which is transcranial direct current stimulation. PEMF is pulsed electromagnetic fields which train neural rhythms, and the most widely known of the group is neurofeedback, which is known as coherence training. It uses real-time feedback via a device to train hemispheric synchronization. Of course, we can't forget one of my favorite passive healing practices, which is music-based techniques. There's rhythmically symmetric music with equal stereo balance with repetitive structure. 432 Hz solfeggio-based music. This is often used for coherence work. Even classical music with bilateral even complexity activates both the analytic and creative hemispheres of our brain for coherence. And we're finally at the last category of practices, which is multimodal and integrative techniques. That's combining various techniques for particular effects like sound plus breath synchronization. Movement and mantra, a coordinated vocalization and bilateral movement. You can also attain high coherence entrainment by layering light, sound, and breath protocols. This combination is often used clinically and in meditative states, and then there's group coherence practices like those that we'll be doing in Panama City Beach, because collective entrainment amplifies our individual synchronization. This is the collective energy that you've heard about, and why there's synchronized meditations held across the world. Okay, that's it, guys. I don't know how I am going to organize these as part of this Medbed prep series. As always, I'll wait for the guidance, and we'll start digging into these because brain entrainment creates a bridge between where human healing is today and where it's headed. By guiding the brain into coherent, synchronized states, entrainment helps stabilize the nervous system, optimize cellular communication, and create the internal order that advanced healing technologies, such as future Medbed systems, rely on to function at their highest level. Coherence isn't just a wellness practice. It's foundational training for a future where healing responds to frequency resonance, alignment, and the body's readiness to receive higher consciousness restoration.